is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty from Ty Drives, and sitting in front of us is the very heavily anticipated redesigned 2025 Chevrolet Tahoe. And I'm going to show you all of the features that this updated Tahoe has to offer. Now, this is in a premier trim level, and it's got quite a bit of optional extras on this vehicle. So we're going to be taking a full look on the exterior, under the hood, in the trunk, in the third row of seats, second row of seats, and of course the front seats, so we get a full idea on what this 2025 Tahoe is all about. Now, in case you're wondering how this new Tahoe drives, we'll be filming an extra video, or I should say a separate video, on driving impressions in a POV fashion on a completely separate video. So you can either wait to the end of this video and I'll provide you a link to that, or you can check out my channel, Ty Drives, for more. But let's start up front where we have a completely new front end. We have these massive headlight units here, and everything is all LEDs. Up top we have our turn signals. We also have some big giant daytime running lights and one single projector bulb for your high and low beams. And again, everything is powered by LEDs. Looks very nice, all illuminated. And if we take a step back, since it's so big, we have this massive chrome grille on the premier trim level, and just below our Chevy bow tie we have a camera for the 360 view. We also have front parking sensors, and at the very bottom of the bumper, accented with a thin line of chrome, are some LED fog lamps. Also looks very, very nice. Now, for 2025, the Tahoe is not all new, but rather a kind of like a midlife update, but nonetheless a very big update. Now, this particular one has some pretty flashy rims going on here. It is an option, it's a standalone option for this Tahoe Premier. They measure up at 22 inches, and our tires are 275/50. Very nice looking wheels, mostly gloss black, but it's got some machine accents, and I really like the look of this wheels. We also have some fixed running boards with some chrome accents. The Tahoe lettering on the side. We have chrome mirror caps, and our mirrors have cameras as well. They also have blind spot warning in them. And we have smart key entry with these chrome accented door handles on all four doors. You just press a little button there to lock and unlock. Now, this is one of the first Tahoes that my favorite Chevrolet dealership has gotten in, Laziest Chevrolet of Waterbury. So there's not a whole lot of information on the window sticker, but the MSRP on this one is right around $84,000. We have the fuel cap on the driver's side, and a pretty much all new rear end too. So we have new tail lights. They are the same style, but as you can see, they're now kind of like a clear and almost tinted style. Very cool looking. It looks awesome, all illuminated. Now they're full LED units where they weren't last year. So the turn signals, tail lights, and the brake lights are all LED powered. Looks awesome, all illuminated. And taking a little step back, you can see we have this new black strip right below the window here. And we also have the Chevrolet Tahoe emblems. And down here we have another set of cameras, one for your reversing camera and the other for your rear view camera mirror, which we'll see when we get inside. We have the hatch release right down here, our premier lettering. Bit more chrome accents and some quad exhaust tips on this one. We also have rear parking sensors, and the exhaust actually sounds pretty good on this one. This one's got the 5.3 liter V8, and we'll get a listen to that exhaust in just a minute. But what do you guys think of the styling on the 2025 Tahoe? I personally think it looks awesome in person. Let me know in the comments. So, under the hood of the new Tahoe, we can get 3 different engine options. Now, this particular one we have here for filming purposes is the 5.3 liter V8, I should say the tried and true 5.3 liter V8. This engine's been around a dog's age, and it's a really great, reliable motor. 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. Definitely enough power for this large SUV. You can choose between 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive, and We have everything hooked up to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now the other two engine options are available are a 3-liter turbo diesel Duramax engine, which is a 6-cylinder, and that's a pretty cool engine, very smooth, very economical. And we also have a more performance-oriented 6.2-liter V8 engine with about 420 horsepower. So definitely quite a bit of options as far as the engine and drivetrain goes on the Tahoe. And we'll definitely see how this Tahoe performs in a little acceleration test on our test drive. But next, let's take a listen to how this engine sounds at the tailpipes. Let's take a look at the rather massive cargo area of the new Tahoe, and we can actually pop the liftgate open two different ways. Now you could pop open the glass by pressing the little button on the key fob. It'll pop open for you and just lift it up the rest of the way, and that'll give you a small access inside the trunk so that you can kind of reach in, grab a grocery bag, and bring it back out without opening the entire trunk. I really like that they give you that option. Or you could just open the entire hatch, or lift gate rather, and gain full access to the massive cargo area in the back of this Tahoe. And looking at it from now, we have one side of the third row seat folded up and the other side down, so you kind of get an idea on how much space you have behind the third row of seat and behind the second row of seat. And it only gets bigger from here because, remember, the Suburban is on the market too, and that expands the cargo area to just under 100 cubic feet of storage space in the Suburban. So that's pretty huge. As far as amenities back here, it is plentiful. You have cargo tie downs, some little skid trays getting inside of the cargo area, and you also have a shallow storage bin below the cargo floor. Now you can fold the third row seats down and up using these buttons here, so we can kind of check that out using the right side, so it'll go up and down. And you can also fold down the second row of seats back here using these two sets of buttons. Now you can't fold them back up, they are not powered, but it is a release to fold down the second row seats back here. So absolutely mammoth cargo area back here in the Tahoe. Now you can close up the trunk by either using the handle or just pressing the button, close it right on down. Alright, so let's get a first glance at the interior of the Tahoe with the rear seats, where we could see a new color option on the inside. Now, by the way, the exterior color is called Sterling Gray Metallic. The interior color is called Jet Black with Sky Cool Gray accents, and it's this very, very light gray interior color, very appealing to the eyes if you ask me. Nice looking rear door panel too. You even have this kind of like lighter tan stitching up top, a little bit of simulated wood trim, also some chrome accents, some glossy black accents, and very nice materials. So soft touch all the way up here, even on the rear door. The rest of the door, kind of like the black, is all kind of like a hard touch plastic. Lots of storage though too. We have two layers, one smaller and one larger at the bottom, and a 10-speaker Bose audio system on the Premier trim level. Now, as far as buttons back here, we even have our own dedicated lock on lock buttons and your window switch. And we're going to take a look at the third row seats first. Now, the way you gain access back there is one of two ways. You can either pull this handle here, which will slide the rear seat back and forth, or you could pull this handle once, which will kind of fold the seat down into a fold flat position, or you could pull it twice, and that will kind of allow you to lift up on the seat, and that'll gain access to the third row. So let's take a look back there. 3 seats back here, so you could fit 3 people across, and there definitely is enough space for 3 people back here. I kind of have this seat at its forwardmost position, so even folded down, if somebody were to sit there, they'd have plenty of legroom. And it's very nice attention to detail back here. Same leather treatment, You do have USB-C chargers and cup holders back here, as well as air vents and illumination. So very nice area back here. We're going to put our seats back. And it is kind of like a two-hand process to get the seats back and forth. So let's pull that lever here and put this seat at the rearmost position. And by the way, we have the captain's chairs back here, and a kind of bench configuration is available, but the captain's chairs are definitely easier to get access in and out of the third row, because you essentially don't have to move this seat. You can just have your kids or smaller people scoot through the middle and get right back there. But yes, very nice attention to detail on the seats. We have perforations, very soft leather, and an armrest for each of the captain's chairs. This one also has the rear seat media package. So in just a second, I'm going to power on this Tahoe so we can check that out, as well as the rear climate controls. So let's do that now. So now that we're seated in the second row of the Tahoe, obviously lots and lots of space. I'm 5'10", so as you can see, just a ton of space, rear legroom back here. And even so much so that I could scoot this seat forward a little bit more, even a couple inches, to give the third row passengers more space back there. But yes, no doubt about it, very roomy back here, and the captain's chairs are very, very comfortable. Nice big panoramic roof back here. And to turn on our rear media screens, we just give it a little double tap to wake it up. And we have some quick connect controls over here for a home screen, connect your Bluetooth headphones that come with the vehicle, and some settings. Now if we go back, we can see YouTube is built into the screen here, so you can actually watch Ty Drive's Tahoe video from within your Tahoe. We have a web browser and a couple of HDMI connections, and you can also take a look at some of the vehicle status. So pretty cool rear screens to keep your children or adult passengers occupied back here. We have a couple of cup holders at the top of the center console, and we also have our own rear seat climate control. So we have our own fan speed, temperature, mode, so different zones, and heated seats back here too. We have two USB-C chargers, two HDMI inputs, and also another household outlet back there. But yes, very nice and roomy place to be back here in the Tahoe. What do you say we head up front and check out all the tech? So we got a lot of stuff going on here to the left of the steering wheel. We're going to take a look at the driver's door first, since we have some pretty notable controls. Besides our window and mirror adjustments, we have two-person memory with an easy exit mode for the driver's seat. We also have our power folding mirror adjustments, another speaker, and that same kind of two-tier storage for the driver's door. We have some more stitching, some perforated leather too on the door, and a bunch of switchgear on the left of the dashboard. We of course have our air vent with a little bit of simulated wood trim, and a bunch of buttons down here for your electronic parking brake, lane keep assist on and off. We can also turn our parking sensors, auto start stop, traction control, cameras, our 360 camera, and our automatic parallel parking assist on and off. So nice control panel there with a lot of different features. We have all of our four-wheel drive controls, so 2 high and 4 high. We can also put in automatic for if you're in the snow, which will switch between 2-wheel and 4-wheel depending on if you need it. And we also have kind of like an off-road mode and a couple of different driving modes here too. We have our gauge dimmer right there, and all of our headlight switch with our fog lights on the other knob. Now we can see a little bit better on this angle. We do have a 4-way adjustable, power adjustable steering wheel, so tilt and telescopic. And down here, release for your hood and our pedals. We also have a nice Chevrolet sill tray. And our driver's seat is fully power adjustable with 4-way lumbar. Again, same very nice attention to detail on the front seat as the rear seats are. Again, soft leather perforations and some nice looking tan stitching. What do you say we hop in and check out all the new technology up front? So now that we're seated inside the Tahoe, as you can see, virtually nothing from the 2024 Tahoe carries over to the 2025 as far as the dashboard goes. It really is all new in here as far as the dashboard and screens and steering wheel go. And it's a really, really attractive design. You've got a giant touchscreen here, new center console area, new climate controls, new steering wheel, new gauge cluster screen. Really almost everything in here is new. Let's take a look at the key, where we do have some pretty cool buttons I wanted to show off. We have the lock, unlock, remote start, tailgate release, panic alarm, and also the release for the glass part of the tailgate. And of course we have the Chevrolet emblem on the other side with a button to slide out a physical key in case you need it. The push button start is right down here. And you do get a nice little sound of that V8 when you start it up. As you can see, awesome looking set of new screens here, but let's take a look at the new steering wheel first. Nice smooth leather with some stitching on the inside. We have all of our adaptive cruise control settings here, with also our gap adjustment and a low mode for the transmission in case you're towing. Over here we have a bunch of media and adjustments for the driver's information screen. So we have voice commands, heated steering wheel, as well as a couple different buttons to adjust the gauge cluster. We also have paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel, and right over here below the paddle shifters is actually a little rocker button to adjust your audio volume, and the same on the other side for your radio presets. So that's pretty cool. Behind the steering wheel, we have a multi-function stalk right here for your wipers, also your turn signals and high beams. And to the other side, we have our transmission selector. So no more kind of push buttons or floor shifter, back to the nice old column shift. And the way this works is you have to pull it towards you for neutral, and down is for drive. Pull it towards you again, up for reverse, and press a little N button for park. So pretty simple operation of that gear selector. Now let's take a look at this screen here. It has been used in other Chevrolet models such as the Blazer and Equinox EV, but it's a very nice installation here for the Tahoe. Now it is pretty configurable. There's a bunch of different gauge views, but kind of like as you see it right now is kind of the way it comes, at least with these little informational squares. So you have the date and temperature, as well as the time right over here. Also your audio right there. Distance to empty for your fuel gauge, your four-wheel drive settings, what gear you're in, as well as your fuel gauge there, coolant temperature there, and a big tachometer with your digital speedometer right in the center. But if you don't like that gauge setup, there are plenty others to choose from by just pressing this little button right here, and that'll cycle through a lot of different gauges. So this will kind of be the more mechanic focused gauge cluster, since we have a little bit more telemetry, I guess you could say here. So we now have the transmission temperature as well as the real-time oil pressure too. So that'll be a good screen for towing. Press that button once more, we can get the Google Maps to show up, which looks awesome. We can also move over to a kind of a more driver's assistance focused screen, which looks very nice. Simplified screen with really just your speed right in the center. And we can move back over to that one large tachometer. So pretty nice setup. Up here, we have this kind of large bulge here for the heads-up display, which will show very nice things such as your current speed limit on a particular road you're on, navigation directions, and all that good stuff too. But here's the main focus of this interior, and it is this all new screen. Now again, this screen has been used in a couple of different Chevrolet models, and it's kind of their newest software and appearance for the touchscreens, and I think a lot of Chevrolet models will be switching to this in the near future. It is a great system. Very large touchscreen, and some of the climate controls are integrated, but it's pretty easy, and we'll go over some of the functionalities here on the screen right now. Now the volume knob's really cool in the fact that it's actually mounted on the touchscreen. So if you move the volume up and down, you can see this kind of animation on the screen itself, so that's pretty cool. We have a couple of shortcuts up here for your home screen, a couple of different home screens there, music, maps, phone, and different settings. So if we go to, this is kind of like your home screen for all of your different apps. You could swipe back and forth. Then we could also go to this button, which is kind of a multi-function display. It'll display your Google Maps, and whatever you want over here, you can customize it with that little button. And there's two different options, so that's pretty cool. Going back to home, we can click into the vehicle status, which will show you various maintenance things, tire pressures, trip computers, things like that. And you can also tap the gauges screen. So if you're towing, you get a lot more kind of information there. Going back to home, we have a couple of different Google related apps. We have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Great camera system on this vehicle too, as you can see, 360 view, and you can also see the front wheels. For the front cameras, we have the standard front view, overhead front view, and if we switch to the rear, we have the regular rear view camera, overhead, which is great for hooking up a trailer hitch, and also hitch view, which is even better for hooking up a hitch. And then of course our rear wheel, so very, very nice. And of course you could toggle on and off guidance lines, things like that. We have Alexa built in, a kind of dedicated trailering app where you could set up new profiles for different trailers you may have, do a light test, and also have a checklist just to make sure you have all your ducks in a row before you start towing. We have a bunch of settings you can go through, the automatic parking assist, and then we also have a dedicated climate screen. And once we turn that off, you can start adjusting things. Moving over, we have the Wi-Fi settings, our audio screen, which we could select a source and start listening to our Sirius XM or what have you. We also have some controls here too, such as your child safety locks, head-up display adjustments, and things like that. A couple of repetitive things in here, lots of driver's assistance, and we also have our universal garage door opener, so it's no longer buttons. You have to go through the screens to pair up your garage. And there's also some customization for the rear seat entertainment system within that screen. Now at the very bottom, and it also stay at the bottom, is your climate control. So as you can see, we have a small array of climate control buttons. Now, most of it's here, but we still have a couple of adjustments up here that we have to customize. So as you can see, 2 temperatures for up front and then another temperature for the rear, so 3-zone climate control. We have cooled and heated seats up front for the driver and passenger, and we have a bunch of different climate controls up here. Mainly for your kind of zone where you want the air to blow. That's really the only button that's not included with the physical climate controls, in addition to the seat heating and cooling. But these buttons stay here constantly, they don't move, so you can quickly access them. So if the climate controls have to be through the screen, this is the way I would like it. Taking a look down here, we have a nice simulated wood accented below the screen. A little bit of chrome, a little bit of leather with stitching, nice glossy black area, but not too much glossy black in here to where you'll see the fingerprints and get it dirty and all that stuff. As far as physical climate controls, we have the 2 temperatures to the knobs here, on, off, automatic settings, fan speed, and your defrosters. Right below the climate control settings are kind of like your phone box here. So you have wireless charging here, a USB and USB-C connection. We also have a couple of cup holders here and a massive center console, which is kind of like a trick center console. I'll show you what I mean in a minute, but nice and soft. You can open it up and plenty of storage in there, but as you're noticing, it might be a little bit shallow to you. And the reason is there's actually a button up here, kind of unmarked with just some arrows. So it's like one of those things like if you know, you know. And the whole center console slides back to reveal a hidden drawer where you can put your cash, things like that in there, and nobody will ever know. So that is pretty darn cool. And if you have that open, you could still slide the center console forward, so you still have a comfy place to rest your arm. Very good thinking from Chevrolet on that sliding center console. That's a very, very cool feature. Off to the passenger side, the passenger seat is power adjustable too. We have a full black headliner, and let's take a look at what our panoramic roof looks like when it's open. Once that's open, I'll show you guys. But let's take a look at the visors too. They'll fold down, and you have a mirror with lights. Bunch of other buttons up here too. For your interior alarm, you can turn it on and off. Your LED interior illumination. You can also fold up and down your 3rd row seats from this button right here. We have some adjustments for the power trunk, so you could either open it or adjust the height of it. And also the controls for your sunroof. So this one will let you slide the glass portion of the sunroof, tilt it, and that middle one is your sunshade. And take a look at that with the glass open. Definitely lightens up this interior. We have the black headliner, but the almost white seats but that definitely lightens up the interior nonetheless. A couple other controls up here, such as your OnStar and SOS buttons, and we also have the very cool rear view camera mirror, like I pointed out to you, in the rear of the vehicle. You could either turn it on or off, just use it as a traditional mirror or a regular mirror. And one last thing to finish up the interior is the blind spot. So I just wanted to give you a look around the vehicle to show you that blind spots are pretty minimal, other than the headrest kind of blocking that back glass over there. It looks pretty good, but if you don't have anybody sitting back there, you can either fold down the headrests or just fold down the whole seat, and you'll have plenty view out this car. But that pretty much does it on all the features of this very impressive 2025 Chevrolet Tahoe in the Premier trimable. Thank you very much for watching, and by now the link to the test drive should be popping up, so make sure you join us in that video too. And I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. We'll catch you next time.